Coming off your squad's late season push to reach the finals of the MIAA postseason tournament last year, what are your overall expectations for the 2012-2013 season?
Well, we had a great finish to last year's season, and making the MIAA tournament was one of our goals going into the season. Being a 7th seed obviously is not where we wanted to be, but I think our approach to it, coming into it, was a very positive one, and our players really stepped up and played well. We probably played as good a basketball as we'd played all season, and so it was a nice way to finish the season. Now, can we take that and build on it this year and improve on what we did last year and take that momentum and make it a positive for this upcoming season? That's yet to be seen, but I'd rather be in this position than the other way around and not making the tournament and finding out what we're about right now.
Coach, what are your biggest concerns heading into the season, such as replacing key All-MIAA players like Eric Ray and Andre Bailey, or things you feel the team needs to improve upon?
Well, we definitely have some holes to fill, but we have a good returning nucleus of kids who played significant minutes for us. Those guys are going to be dependent upon heavily, especially early in the season, to give us solid minutes and contributions both offensively and defensively. But I think time is going to be one of the things that'll be a friend to us as we progress through the season with as many new faces as we have. I think we're a team that hopefully this year we'll continue to get better and improve throughout the season. Last year we had a lot of peaks and valleys. This year we're looking to eliminate some of those valleys and keep on the upswing for most of the season.
While it's obviously early in the preseason, as teams begin to form their identities, what do you feel are the Gorilla's strengths heading into the 2012-13 campaign?
Well, like I just mentioned, I think with our returners, we're very solid in all 5 positions. Sam at the 1. You could put Courtney and Markey Nolan at the 2s and 3s. You get a returning all-conference player in Javon inside. And then you put Rico in that mix too at the 4. Had a really good finish to the season last year, and he was only with us for half the season. So his experience that he got in that short amount of time is going to be valuable. But we've also increased our ability to score the ball. Last year we really struggled from the perimeter shooting the ball, and we've done and filled some of those gaps with our recruiting class. And so that worries me a little bit going into it. The amount of time we're going to depend upon the new players, JUCO transfers, and the freshmen to contribute. But it's a process, and every team goes through it. But with our solid returning group and core nucleus, I think that'll help us, and I think we'll be pretty solid.
You've touched on that core nucleus, four players, Courtney Ingram, Javon McGee, and Markey 12 or more games a year ago. Rico joining the team and playing in the final 21 games with 4 starts as well. How do you can you expand a little bit more on the leadership from your upperclassmen as they go into this season? Sure.
Leadership is critical, and there's different ways to define leadership, and we've got different types of leaders on this team. We've got your emotional leaders out on the floor who give you great energy and play extremely hard. You got your vocal leaders, and we've got a couple of those, and then you have your silent leaders who do a lot behind the scenes. And all 5 of these guys coming back gave us significant contributions, and each one of them will be dependent upon to lead in their various ways they lead this team. They've been very, very good in our preseason workouts. They've been the ones who have kind of set the pace and set the tone for early practices. So they need to continue to do the job that they do and help bring these new faces and these young kids along as we progress through the season and through our practices. This 2-week period before we get into games is a critical period as we prepare for the opener on November 13th against Baker. So,
in addition to the veterans, your staff signed a number of players who could impact your lineup this winter. Touch on some of the key prospects among this season's recruiting class.
Well, as I mentioned, all of them are going to be dependent upon. This is really the first year as a program since I've been here that we have really emphasized recruiting the freshman class, and we've got really 4 outstanding freshmen that are going to have to play for us. And I think not so much have to, but I think they're going to earn time. And I think as the season goes on, they may earn more time. You go from we'll start at the top and work our way down at the point guard position. Caleb Porter, Tulsa Metro Player of the Year, very, very talented young man, is going to have to learn how to play at this level, but his skill set, his ability to pass the ball, just a great feel for the game, I think is going to be essential for us. Ray Blanco from New Jersey is another one who's a very athletic young man and learning to use his athleticism in our system and what he can and can't do. And then you work down to Jake Bullard, who's kind of a 3, can play the 4 also, another tough kid. Very skilled, very talented. We're going to depend on him for his energy and what he brings to the floor. And then Denton Hayes inside is just a freshman. He's 6'7", about 210, but he's probably one of the strongest freshmen I've coached and more physical players that I've coached for coming in as a freshman. He's not afraid of anything. And then our junior college transfers are going to be very important. Ethan Cordray is one of the kids that we talked about that's going to need to fill the outside scoring responsibilities for us. And at Coffeyville, he gained a lot of experience there and played on great teams under a great coach in Jay Herkelman. And we're counting on him to stretch defenses a little bit. And then Terrell Edey and A.J. Adams are going to be 2 guys that can play inside. Terrell can play the perimeter as well, but very athletic young men who are going to provide an inside presence for us also.
The MIAA already stood as one of the most formidable conferences in the NCAA Division II landscape. Now with league expansion, the overall league strength is bolstered again as newcomers Central Oklahoma, Lindenwood, Nebraska Kearney, and Northeastern State get set to make their MIAA debuts. What do you expect as you prepare for the league race in the new composition of a 15-member super conference?
Well, a very difficult and competitive conference just got that much more competitive. All the teams that have joined our conference will up the level of competition, will up the level of how prepared we're going to have to be for a staff night in, night out, and then getting our players ready to play these teams. Obviously, 2 of those new additions are in our pod. Our focus is on the league, but also when you play within your pod, every opponent twice puts a little more emphasis and importance on your pod and being successful in it. But it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out, and I think the addition of these programs is a positive one for everybody concerned, and we're looking forward to the opportunity to kind of expand and play some different teams also. But it is. It's a battle. It's a long season, and the importance of the season and the length of the season just got longer with the addition of these teams. And it'll be a fun year, but it'll also be a very trying year in trying to keep your team focused game in, game out, and through very difficult length of schedule, but also very difficult competition.